for this project, the first thing you're going to want to do is find some fabric that you want to use. I used 3 different patterns of blue floral vintage sheets that I had scraps of. I cut them 16 inches long by 1 inch. And then I lined it up on my cutting board here using the squares. So it was 16 inches long, so I just moved it over, took the top down to make a little tab about 1/2 inch wide, like that. And then I'll sew right along this edge here with the sewing machine, and then my end result is this right here. I have a little flap in the back, and then I have a loop in which to put through the dowel. And that's basically it. You can cut as many strips as you want, or you can make it as long as you want, or as wide as you want, whatever you want to do. So basically I started with 9 of one fabric, and I added 4 of another fabric. Here, I'll show you. I started with 9 of this fabric, 9 strips. Then I added 4 of this fabric on each side, and then 4 of this fabric on the other side. So I still need to add the last 4 on this side. So you can see here that I have the strips placed onto the dowel. Here's the dowel up here. And I just have them placed on the dowel and laying on the thing, on the desk. So now what I need to do is add a couple more strips to the end of this dowel. And how to do that is you just, since you've got this little loop that you've made, and you just slip that over the dowel and scooch it down to the end. Alright, so the next thing I did was take a quilting ruler and laid it along the edge of the bottom of the hanging of the strips of fabric, and made sure that they were all the same length. Anything that was too long, I trimmed with my rotary cutter. So now I have pretty much, there's a few that are a little shorter, like this one right here, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to make it into like an arrow shape. Or just, cut the edges off over here to kind of make it come down to a point. Just basic, simple. So what I have done is taken the dowel with the strips on it already and lined it up onto my cutting board, so I know that it's nice and level, like so. And then I have gone ahead and found the middle point of the wall hanging, which is right here. And then I've determined what type of grade I wanted. I'm going to try cutting off just a 4 inches off the bottom in a triangle shape, and see how I like that. So what I've done is taken the ruler and laid it from the middle of the middle strip to the outside corner at the angle that I want it, at the number that I want it, so it's 4 inches up. So I will take my rotary cutter and cut along this line, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so now my wall hanging has a shape like this. I think it turned out pretty cute. So now what I need to do is find some yarn or some sort of something to hang it from. I also need to cut off this end. So I'm going to go find something to cut that off with. And then I'm going to leave, like this side I've left maybe an inch. I'll make sure to leave an inch on the other side too. Okay, so I've decided to hang this with a really long length of yarn. So I cut a really long piece so I didn't have plenty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the wood, leaving a tail to tie it with at the end. I'm going to wrap the wood in the yarn and just wrap it all the way down, kind of almost to the end, maybe not quite to the end. And then I'll put a little dot of glue at the end here, just to kind of keep it there. And then I'm going to wrap it all the way back. So I'll have a double wrap, and this will kind of keep the fabric from the fabric strips from shifting around or whatever. And then with this tail, I will just tie a simple knot, trying to focus it kind of on the back, if at all possible, but I don't know that it matters all that much. I'll probably tie it 3 times because that's what I always do. Everything's got to be tied in 3s. I don't know why that is, but it is. Alright, so then I'm going to cut off this little tail like this, and hopefully that should stay pretty well. So then what I'm going to do is determine how tall I want my string for hanging it is. So now I've got this big length of string that will go up and it will be hung on, and then over to the other side of the wall hanging, over onto this side, and I'll do the same sort of thing. Okay, so I have the one side tied. I'm going to pull the string over to the other side and kind of keep it somewhat lax, not too tight. I'm not going to pull it too tight, but I'm going to hold it in place here with my thumb, and I'm going to wrap this around just a few times like this, and then I'm going to attempt to tie it. This is an odd angle, so we'll see if I can do it or not. Alright, that worked. Okay, so now I'll give it a couple more knots and trim off the excess here. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to trim off the excess. And then I still need to wrap this end piece. So I still need to wrap this end piece. So what I'm going to do is take my yarn that I cut from before and start making sure I have a tail again. I'm going to start right on top of what I've already done. Hold that off to the side. And I'm going to start wrapping it. Down to the end again. Hopefully it's on there good enough. And then back to the other side. And then I will once again tie another knot. Nice and tight. And then I'll give it 2 more little knots. And then I'll trim off the excess. Now, I'm a little worried that these knots will kind of come undone after a while, so I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and just give them a little bit of dot of glue on top of them, and then also on the ends, because you can see here, there we go, the end isn't covered, it's just kind of sitting, the yarn is just kind of sitting around the edges. and I don't want it to fall off. So I'm just going to give it a little dot of glue along there, and I think that should do it. So basically, there's my hanging. So basically, there it is to hang by. And it works out pretty good, I think. There we go. Now I can go hang it up so you can get a better look at it. Alright, so here's the finished product. Sorry, it's not showing up very well in here. There we go, there's a better view of the colors maybe. It's kind of dreary in here today. But anyway, so we've got the fabric hanging down. We've got a slight taper at the end. Maybe could have made that a little bit more of a taper, but I really didn't want to cut off too much of the fabric because the fabric is what, the pop of color is what I want. Then we have the yarn covered ends, and then the yarn hanger right there to the other side. So yeah, I think it turned out really good. It's relatively small because the space that I'm going to hang it in is not very large, so I wanted something small, but this would be cool on a larger scale also, because all said and done it's only about almost 16 inches long. Not quite, maybe 15 and a half, but like I said, the space I'm putting it in is quite small. I didn't want it to be overwhelmed with space. So this is how it turned out, and of course I will show you where I end up hanging it in a little bit. Okay, so I have taken the wall hanging that I made and I have hung it above my bed in my room, and I really like how it turned out. It's a nice little pop of color on the white walls, and I think it's something unique and a little different, definitely different for me. So I think it's kind of fun, and I am enjoying it quite a bit. So I hope you like this quick and easy tutorial, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!